Hey, welcome everybody. Oh, hey, how you doing, Maddie? Yep, I've got 3 unboxings that I'm going to try to get done, one right after another. This first box is an original owner machine that I purchased. I won't tell you what it is yet, but it's a real cool machine. Got another unboxing after that, and then I've got a total mystery machine that arrived at the workshop. It's got labeling on it, but it doesn't tell me who the customer is. So we've got to unbox it so I can dig into this and figure out who sent this to the workshop. I have no clue. Oh, and it is from, let's see here. It's from Hinesburg, Vermont. Hinesburg, Vermont. I haven't gotten a lot of machines from Vermont that far northeast, but this mystery machine that we're going to try to dig into is from the great state of Vermont. But let's get into this one first, a machine that I bought, original owner, and I'm really excited to see it in person. I saw all the pictures, but that isn't necessarily the complete story, you know what I mean? And it's kind of fun to do this on a Friday. It almost feels like an early Christmas. It feels like Christmas arriving in, well, we're almost in November. It feels like Christmas arriving in the end of October. No major concerns about this as far as the outside of the box. There's one punch through right here on top, but it doesn't look like it made it all the way through. Took some other hits too. You can kind of see that. Whoops! We just knocked out a couple of our people here. Sorry about that. I've got to watch when I'm rotating this. I'm going to take out the whole gang. So let's get into this. And the clues that I'll give you is it is from Sweden. It is from Sweden. Yes, it is. Oh, looks like Maddie and Emma are here. Cool. All right, welcome, ladies. Let's get into this. And this box came from within Wisconsin, from Campbellsport, Wisconsin. Campbellsport. If anyone wants to look it up for fun, Campbellsport, Wisconsin. And again, if you're just joining the live stream, this is a machine that I purchased after vetting the seller quite a bit. And interestingly, the box they shipped it in, if you're able to read it, it says Christmas Lights 2020. So I don't know what they did with their Christmas lights, but apparently they don't need them in this box anymore. because they used it to send this sewing machine to me. And again, this is an original owner sewing machine. Original owner. Probably about 95% of my collection is all original owner machines. So when Veronica and Emily from Texas eventually make the trip up here as the grand prize winners from the Willy Wonka contest we did to help out the Oconto Area Humane Society, they're going to be able to pick from a wide variety of machines. And the majority of them, the mass majority of them, are going to be all original owner machines. Why is that important? Because you know the provenance, you know the history, you know the track record of that machine, because the original owner bought it brand new, and then it went from right over to them to me. How cool is that? So at any rate, let's get into this and see what kind of machine from Sweden did I buy? What kind of machine? We got some good old packing paper. Quite a bit of packing paper. This stuff is perfect if you have a fireplace. If you have a fireplace, this is a perfect thing to use for fire starting. So if anybody watching right now has a fireplace and you want to cover the postage, I know you wouldn't, because it would be like a lot more than what this is worth, but this is great for starting. Even if you have a little fire pit in your yard or something like that, this is great stuff. So I'm going to hang on to this, but I won't use it for packing a machine. It's not my thing. Ooh, this is going to be a big clue. I already know what this is. Well, this feels literally like Christmas in October. This is like Christmas in October. I should put Christmas music on. Hold on a second. I might change this. Although I like this music a lot. That's a tough choice. Okay. I'm totally going to mix it up now. We're heading into December. It feels like December right now. Yeah. Imagine the snowflakes falling. Yeah. All right. What did I get myself as an early Christmas present? What is this? More paper. Oh, they didn't pad it very well. Listen real close. Listen. I wish when people pack things, they would pack them like they're fragile, because they are. And it's not just because I'm the customer in this case, it's just because it's the right thing to do. Well, if you can see that, this is going to be a major clue as to what might be in here, but you still don't know what model it is. It could be any model within the green machine type class, assuming this is the correct bed. Yeah, it is. It is the correct bed, but guessing what it is, that'll be the challenge. What model could this be? And I'll just show you real quick. The reason I always say if you're using scissors, handle them real carefully. I made this little incision right here, right? And it's kind of cloudy, you can't see through it. But I cut real carefully, and it's a good thing I did. Look at what's right underneath the surface. They didn't protect the cord in any way. They just kind of wrapped everything in stretch wrap. So whenever you open something up, just be extra careful. Be extra careful so you don't cut the cord. Well, those of you that follow this channel all the time, you already know what's in here probably. It's one of the original containers. And it looks like it, I'll have to look at the pictures that the gentleman, the son of the original owner sent me, because it's cracked down the side now. And I don't think it was cracked in the pictures. So this might be some of the initial damage that we're finding right now. Again, whenever you're going to wrap something, especially if it's older plastic like this, like these cases, stretch wrapping it is great, but you also want to bubble wrap it as well, right? And for goodness sakes, take a second and throw some bubble wrap inside of the container so that it's not all the stuff inside, which is probably a combination of plastic and metal. When it's not padded on the inside, it's all crashing into each other, right? And again, if you didn't read the introductory notes that I put in the chat, I'm kind of concentrating on the unboxings because this is one of 3 that we're going to try to do during this live stream. 2 of the packages are for me. The other one is that mystery package out of Vermont. So I know that Emma is here, and if there's any other moderators, they can answer general questions for you and can kind of be there for you, because I'm going to concentrate on getting these things unboxed. Yeah, I think this got damaged in transit. What a bummer. These containers are so hard to come by, and usually you'll find like a good bottom and then a cracked top, and then you find a cracked middle section. They come in 3 parts, 3 tiers, a bottom, a middle section, and then the cap that goes on the top. And it looks like we got to split down the side. We'll take a look at this as we get this stretch wrap off. Yeah, it kind of, because it didn't have any padding, as this was inside of the box and the box was getting shifted around, it doesn't take much to crack this, and that's exactly what it did. It split it right down the side. I probably can repair this, but still, it was preventable, and it's kind of frustrating when this happens, and it could have easily been prevented. So there's the top section. You can see the royal mark on there. If you're not familiar with the history of the Husqvarna sewing machine company, they were founded by a king's decree. The king decreed a drilling and grinding plant way back in the 1600s. And later, around 1872, they rolled out their first sewing machine after having made musket barrels and a variety of other type products there. So it's got an incredible history dating all the way back to the 1600s. And that's why a lot of people consider the Husqvarna sewing machine company to be the oldest sewing machine company in the world. But they weren't making sewing machines until 1872. So that debate is kind of open, isn't it? But the top looks good. And it looks like the midsection survived as well. That's usually where you're going to store a number of attachments in these little cubbies. and you're going to be putting your bobbins in this row. This case will hold up to 6 bobbins, so then you have one in the machine. So you can take this, if it has a carrying case, you can take this to a sewing retreat or a quilting expo or something, and you can have a total of 7 bobbins all contained within that case very nicely. And the middle seems to have survived as well. Here's where the unfortunate news comes in. You can see a big chunk of it cracked out right there. And it's split all the way across the bottom too. You can kind of see that crack right there. So I'm going to have to check the box to see if I can find that piece. I'm checking through the stretch wrap right now. I don't see it in there. Hopefully I can find the piece so I can put it all back together and make it complete again. And here's what happens when you have family members like this, that grandma passes away or mom passes away, and all of a sudden you got this sewing machine that they bought brand new, but you don't know a thing about it. So you find little doodads here and there, and you put it all in the same box because you assume it goes together, right? Well, this definitely does not go with this Husqvarna sewing machine from around the 1950s, 50 to 1960. I didn't date the machine yet, so I don't know. But this is going to be a cam for an entirely different machine. And there are a lot of machines that use these machines, from the Neki machines to the Japanese machines to the Kenmores. So another mystery. But these are the cams that go with this machine, and they are pure gold. I've talked to you guys about these before. This is a Cam C, if you can't see it on the camera. A Cam A. And a Cam B. And these are not revised versions because they don't have that little I after the letter. These are the original ones, A, B, and C. And this is what would have come with the machine when that owner bought it brand new. And just a little assortment of attachments as well, which is great. But that piece of plastic that's missing, it might be a lost cause. And if it is, I might have another base like that to replace it with. And you can also temporarily just snap it together like this with the top half and the middle half. It works nicely this way, so you don't lose stuff. I've got a lot of people in the live stream now. Welcome everybody. Happy Friday. And it looks like Madeline and Emma are the only ones that have stepped out into the chat so far. If you're brand new to this, feel free to join the chat and chat with Madeline and with Emma. They're regulars, and they can answer any questions you have and just make you feel welcome. So glad you're here. But I'm going to get back to this because we have 2 more to unbox after this too. So, But first of all, I'm going to get a drink real quick. A little bit of Diet Pepsi. If you're in this live stream right now and you have a preference of Pepsi versus Coke, type it in the chat just for fun, whether you prefer Pepsi or Coke. I go back and forth all the time, and I'm sometimes in places where they don't have Pepsi, which I normally drink, because long ago, some of you know this, I worked for Pepsi with their restaurant divisions. So I kind of lean towards Pepsi, but I'll drink Diet Coke in a pinch too. So if you have a preference, Diet Coke versus Pepsi or Coke versus Pepsi, step out of the shadows and type it in the chat what you prefer. I'd just be curious. And if you're from certain parts of the country, they call everything a Coke. A lot of my friends down in the South around Louisiana, Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi, If they go into a restaurant or somewhere else, they don't say, hey, give me a Mellow Yellow, or hey, give me a 7-Up, or hey, give me whatever. They'll say, I'll take a Coke. And then the person might have to ask them, well, what kind of Coke would you like? And then you figure out what they're looking for specifically. But depending on where you're in the country or the world, you sometimes will ask for something in a certain way, and you might not get what you want. You just might not. And here's our foot controller again. Foot controllers are fragile, especially Husqvarna foot controllers. There's all kinds of delicate components inside, and there's also it's almost like a ceramic inner circle in here that's part of the electrical field, and that can break as well. And this gentleman, or whoever he had packed this up for me, didn't do any padding of this foot control at all. There's no bubble wrap around it. There's no stretch wrap around it. If you ship a machine to the workshop, please protect your foot controller, especially if it's one of these Husqvarna ones. Stretch wrap it, bubble wrap it, and then put some tape around it to seal it nice and tight so that it's not banging around, especially not banging around against a metal extension bed. That's definitely not a good thing. So I'm going to express some of my feedback to this individual after we get done today with all of these unboxings. The other thing I'll show you real quick is on the bottom of pretty much any Husqvarna or Husqvarna foot controller, there's going to be a data plate. So if you're ever working with your Swedish Beauty and the foot controller goes kaput on you, make sure that wherever you're buying it, eBay or Etsy or wherever, that you check the pictures real carefully and look at that to make sure that it's going to be compatible with your Swedish Beauty. They're all different, and you got to match the foot controller to the model of the Swedish Beauty that you have. I'm still looking for that piece of plastic, but I haven't found it yet. I hope it's in here. And if you're just joining the live stream, this accessory box was packed very, very poorly. There was really no protection around it at all. And as a result, we got a crack down the side here, and we've got a major crack and damage over here. And then there's a piece of the bottom of the base missing, which I'm hoping I can find in this box somewhere. I hope. So here's the extension bed, and I don't know if you can see it on the live stream or not. It's not that minty colored one that we see oftentimes with the 21As and some of the other 21 series machines. This is a little bit of the darker green. I'm not really good on colors, but if you can see it in the live chat, you can see that it's a little bit darker shade than some of the lighter extension beds. So we know it's going to be from an older series, or it should be from an older series, assuming they didn't swap out beds somehow. It's going to be from an older series green machine. And once we get it totally unpacked, I'll be able to look that serial number up and date the machine. Nowhere on the internet can you find a resource that allows you to date Swedish Beauties. But because of my friend from Norway, Hans, he was able to track down some original documents from the factory in Husqvarna. And we've got general breakouts of the dating of the machines. So if you have a Swedish Beauty and you're really wondering, can I figure out exactly what the date of the machine is? The answer is yes, you can, by reaching out to me.
And you can do it during a live stream, typing in your serial number in the chat. And one of my leadership team, one of my moderators, will write it down, and then they'll either text it to me or they'll email it to me or send it to me some way. And then I can get back to them. But obviously, we would have to get a hold of you somehow. So if you want to, privately send something through Messenger or email, you can do that. And also, I think most of the leaders know what my contact information is, so you could also send it that way too. But it really is fun to figure out, because most people around the world, they know generally my machine is from the 1950s, but be able to get the actual year that it was made, that's the fun stuff, isn't it? That's the fun stuff. So I'm going to set this to the side as well, and let's keep going, because we've got a lot more unboxing to do. A lot more unboxing. Does anybody have any real fun plans for the weekend? I'm just curious if, as we get into these cooler temperatures, folks are getting involved in all kinds of activities. And again, if you're coming into this live stream a little bit late, I've got Christmas music playing, because the first two unboxings that we're going to do, this one and then another one, are things that I bought. So I'm the customer for once. And we're going to find out what those things are. And then we have one mystery box from Vermont that arrived at the workshop, and there's no customer name on it. So I have no idea who sent it. A lot of mysterious things happening on a Friday. So we're having Christmas in October. Who knew? Wish you a Merry Christmas. Well, this is a tad terrifying. I'm gonna actually stop the music, because I just looked inside of the box, and it dawned on me what I was seeing, and my heart skipped about 2 or 3 beats. Let me pause this. As much as I love this song, the reason that my heart skipped a couple beats is I looked into this box and I pulled more and more of this packing paper out, is because this is the way that the box should be orientated, right? This is the top of the box right here. This is the address label. This is the way the box would be shipped. And it appears, and I'll actually grab the webcam and come over to the box so you can look in with me. It looks like they ship this upside down in the box. Upside down in the box. Oh, goodness gravy. What are people thinking? I mean, honestly, what are people thinking? Or are they not thinking at all? Unless I know nothing about sewing machines, which I don't think is the case. This is in this box with the top of the machine on the bottom of the box. And they've only got a real thin layer of bubble wrap on here. Yeah, that's what they did. They shipped it upside down. Now, I wonder why. Why would you even ship it upside down? Why would anyone logically do that? I mean, this is on these
these Husqvarnas, this is a flat bottom. It's a flat bottom. It's all metal. It's a nice flat, stable base to put inside of a box. I don't get it. I don't get it at all. Oh my gosh. Just when you think you've seen it all. Just when you think you've seen it all. Top of the machine, bottom of the machine. Why wouldn't they ship it in the box like that? I don't know. If anybody has any thoughts, if I'm missing something on the logic of putting it upside down in the box and shipping it, help me out, would you? Help me out. I'm just checking the bottom of the box real quick to see if there's anything else in here, like a note of explanation as to why they shipped the machine upside down in the box. No explanation. All right, let's see what we have. Maybe like with that recent FOF Model 30, or 230 rather. Remember that recent FOF 230 that we got and it wasn't packed well? And yet the VSM ferries, the vintage sewing machine ferries, were looking out for that machine. And I mean, it arrived without a scratch, basically. This one is shipped from within Wisconsin, from the family of the original owner who passed away. And it was sent to the workshop in the box that you just saw, this box right here. It was shipped in this box upside down. Upside down. I'm just, I'm inspired to ring the bell instead of saying something that I'll regret. All right, let's see what we have. Maybe we're going to be fortunate again with no damage. But I still am going to contact the person and ask them what in heaven's name were they thinking. I mean, that's like shipping a dozen eggs and taping the eggs to the outside of the carton. I mean, maybe that's a little bit over the top, but I mean, honestly. Ugh. Ugh. All right. More Christmas music. Well, I'm just glad that this is a machine I bought. I bought this for myself, for my personal collection. I'm so glad that I didn't buy this on behalf of a customer and have it arrive like this, and for them to see the unboxing of their Swedish Beauty thrown into a cardboard box upside down. I mean, that would be, oh gosh, that would be horrible. See, all of these, we have this as protection for the machine, which is basically a single layer of bubble wrap. if I were shipping this machine to someone, it would have between 6 to 8 layers of bubble wrap around it. So the packing of this is really pretty poor. And then I would have additional padding over this area, this area, this area, this area, because these are all plastic knobs. They're kind of a Bakelite type thing that was made in Sweden, but these are all incredibly fragile. So many fragile parts in this machine, and to have one layer of bubble wrap, not a good thing, not a good thing at all. I'm not seeing any broken plastic yet. No broken plastic yet, thank goodness. See, when you ship a machine upside down in a cardboard box and you only have a thin layer of bubble wrap, and the weight of the machine, and these are not super light machines, they're just not. They're not super light machines at all. And you've got all of the weight of the machine resting on this thread guide right here. What do you think is going to happen? It's either going to get broken off or bent, or it's going to cut all the way through the bottom of the box, because these are really sharp on the edges. Let's take a look and see what we can see. This part right here, as a result of this machine being shipped upside down in the box, has bent this metal that's part of the thread guide all the way up. It should be flush with this one down here. The problem with this type of metal that's cast is when it gets bent one way, it won't break necessarily, but when you try to bend it back, in all likelihood, this is going to snap off. Even if I try to heat it up very carefully with my torch and soften it so that it's more malleable, this was totally preventable by them having shipped the machine with the base down, which would only make logical sense. This other one back here somehow survived. This is the way it's supposed to look. And look at this one here. And these are really hard to find, especially on these older model green machines. There were probably about 5 different versions of thread guides that were used by Husqvarna through all of their green machine series, all the way dating back to the early rotary style ones that were part of the Class 20 design. And so you can't just take one of these off of another green machine and stick it on. The screw points are not going to match up. On this one, they're all the way out here. On most of the other ones, they're going to be near the center, right around in here. So when I go to bend this back, which I have to do, if it breaks, then I have to go on a search and destroy mission to try to find another thread guide that will fit this machine. very, very frustrating because this was absolutely preventable. But you know what? I'm not surprised when you have almost a 40-pound machine getting bounced up and down in a box with this supporting the entire weight of the Swedish Beauty. What were they thinking? What were they thinking? Ah! Ugh. Oh my gosh. Ugh. The other thing I'll show you real quick, and I know that to some people, sometimes instead of yelling, you just got to dance. You know what I mean? The other thing I'll show you real quick is whenever you're shipping a machine or shipping a machine to you, always make sure you have material underneath the presser foot. Material underneath the presser foot, and make sure that the needle is in the down position. The reason you have the needle in the down position is it keeps the needle from getting bent, and it also safeguards that needle bar more, because the higher the needle bar is up, the more likely it could get damaged in transit. So you put it all the way down into that throat plate, and it keeps the entire assembly in that faceplate area a lot safer. Here they have it, they don't have any material. They've got the presser foot up, and then they also have the needle in the up position. So yeah, basic stuff. Little stuff can make a big difference. It really can. It really can make a big difference. So when you ship your machine, material underneath the presser foot down, needle down into the material, okay? Yeah, that's what I would do. So the damage we know about so far is the accessory box being destroyed because it was packed poorly, the thread guide on top being bent. What else will we find? Hopefully nothing, right? Hopefully nothing. It's going to be perfect from this point forward. It's going to be perfect. Haha, yeah. Urgh. That was a fun song. Here's a little piece. I haven't found the big chunk yet, but I'm finding little pieces. It'll be hard to see it, but that's a part of the case right there. The accessory box. Put it in the accessory box. Maybe we'll find all the pieces. I doubt it. Okay, nothing in there. All right, let's take a closer look at the machine now, see if we find any other damage on it. Jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh. Hey, jingle bells, jingle all the way. Got away. Again, details matter to me, at least. Notice that the bobbin case is not snapped in. Hopefully it's not snapped in because they just didn't know how to do it.
And if you ever try putting in a bobbin case and you got it lined up just perfectly, but it won't go in, make sure that you don't have the balance reel rotated down with a needle into the raceway, because if somehow this comes loose and the needle is in the raceway, you're not going to be able to snap it in because the needle will be down here and it'll block you from doing that. So just rotate your balance wheel up, and then you should be able to snap it in without any issue like that. The other thing I'll show you on this older model, and it really is a great design, is this retainer plate that holds that hook system in place. On the later versions in the Class 21 series, these all became plastic. They all became like a Teflon plastic material. Back in this period of time, this earlier period, they were made out of metal. That's all metal around there. So you don't have any issues with it cracking or getting eaten up by the thread. It really is a much, much better design, but it was a lot more costly for them to build them like this. And that's why they eventually went away and they went to a kind of a Teflon plastic material for this outer piece of the raceway. So if you're familiar with the Swedish Beauties, you'll see the upper tension is different too. This is going to be one of those upper tensions that doesn't have a set range. In other words, if we're trying to get our upper tension adjusted because our lock stitch is too loose, this one you can turn it and you can turn it. You're supposed to be able to turn it. Boy, that sucker is stiff. That is really stiff. But you can turn this one and turn it and turn it. So almost like a combination lock, you can keep turning it and go past the number more than once. So it becomes a little bit trickier to try to figure out where you're going to set your tension. That whole unit is turning. Oh, let's see here. Yeah, it's probably got a bunch of buildup behind there. Even though I've loosened the set screw, it still is not sliding out. Once I get done servicing this machine and I take it through my 126 steps, that owner, when they get this machine, should I sell it, will be able to loosen this screw and it'll pop out very easily. Right now it's kind of stuck in there a little bit. But I wanted to take it out to see, make sure that set pin, there we go. There we got her. And if you're trying to loosen it, just do it real gentle movements. You'll break that stuff free and then eventually be able to get it out. It's actually not as dirty as I thought it would be. I was expecting to see a lot of veneering and varnishing built up on here that was causing it to be sticky, but that's on the inside of the machine right here on this little cavity where you slide the tension into. So this also is one of the areas that has to be cleaned all the way through here into the faceplate area. That's all part of the servicing that the machine gets when it comes to the workshop. Now, the one thing that is a concern on this upper tension I'm not seeing a take-up spring. There should be a take-up spring as part of this assembly. So the upper tension unit does not have a take-up spring. So that's another part that I need to source now. And I'll have to go back to the original pictures and see whether or not it was missing in the pictures. I don't think it would have been, because I would have noticed that.
And I don't think it couldn't have fallen inside somehow. That would make no sense. Bum 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 bum. Bum, 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 ba-dum, ba-da-da-da-da. Oh, it's kind of bent a little bit. That's why it's not unscrewing easily. I'll have to take a closer look at this, but this is not going to work because when it's inserted, there has to be a take-up spring to regulate that thread release as the sewing process is happening. Right now, it has no take-up spring. It should be in that slot right there, and that looks like it's either been taken off or it's been broken off. Oh, goodness gravy. See, even when you are experienced with machines and you talk with the seller and you do your process, things like this can happen either due to poor packing with this upper tension here being bent or the accessory box being destroyed. It can happen to anyone, including me. All right, let me set this to the side. And if you're not familiar with these Swedish beauties, this control right here allows you to access the cam features. So when there's a cam in the back, which on especially these class 20 series machines, you've got to always have one of these in the back of the machine. And we'll look at that in a little bit. If you don't have one of these in the back of the machine, it doesn't set the swing boundaries of the needle, and the needle can swing outside of the boundary and strike the edges of the throat plate, causing it to be scarred. And then the thread, when it's being fed out of there, it'll start breaking and catching, and you'll have all kinds of sewing issues. So always, always, always have a cam in the back of one of these green machines. And then this also, when you're set on 0 for the stitch width, like we are right now, this will also give you control over needle position, this upper one. And you can kind of see that if I change the camera a little bit. When I turn this and I have this on 0, and I turn this up here, watch that needle. So this is a control that gives you the stitch selection for the cams. You can see the numbers right there between 1 to 5. And whenever you put in one of these cams in the back of these Swedish beauties, position 5 is always going to be a zigzag. And then you'll have position 4, which is a decorative ornamental stitch, position 3, position 2, and position 1. So on every cam like this, you've got a zigzag built in automatically, and then you'll have 4 decorative ornamental type stitches that this machine will sew. And then right here, you've got stitch width, obviously. So if you want to do a zigzag or other stitch that has needle swing, we got to move between 1 and 4. This is our stitch length up here. And when we move it all the way to the top, we're going to be sewing in reverse on this machine. So our longest stitch will be down here at number 4 setting. And then as we want to get it shorter and shorter and shorter, we move this up gradually. And most of our decorative stitching will be right around here between the 1 and the 0. When you're doing the, especially the cam generated stitches, the decorative stitches between 4 and 1, you'll be setting your stitch length right around here. And then for feed dog drop, this is our control right here. When it's at the 12 o'clock position, the feed dogs are fully engaged. When you turn this clockwise, which you can't do right now because it's frozen, there she starts to go a little bit. That's as far as I can turn it right now. So that'll require some degumming and some varnish breakdown that's stuck on the back of that mechanism right now so that it won't rotate all the way down to the 6 o'clock position, so we can drop the feed dogs for free motion quilting and free hand embroidery. Right now, the feed dogs are all the way up, and because we can't turn it all the way, we can't do any free motion quilting unless we were to put one of the Husqvarna darning plates on here. And then we could cover those feed dogs up without them being dropped, and we could still do some free motion quilting. Obviously, we'd take this off and probably put on a quilting foot that has one of those really cool springs, so it kind of goes like a shock absorber as you're doing your free motion quilting. And then over on this side of the machine, and that's just clear coat breakdown right there. Someone may at some time have tried to spray this with clear coat to make it shiny again. And because they didn't prepare the surface properly, it's starting to chip off now. You hear that clicking sound? Listen closely. That's part of the bobbin winding assembly. And that bobbin winding assembly that's hidden inside of here has about 20 service points on it. And this is the older style bobbin winding assembly that when this is screwed in, check that. Oh, I see what they've done. They stuck it on the bobbin winder. So this is normally how it'll be. And then when you put a bobbin on, it's to disengage that clutch. And then when you want to go back into regular sewing, right now it's going to be in the slow mode because this is out. When you want to go back into regular sewing, you've got to slide this in and turn it clockwise to push that mechanism away so that those gear reduction features are not engaged. And then when you want to go back to slow sewing, you turn this counterclockwise and you have to actually pull the sucker out like so. And this is not responding correctly. This should be sticking out further than it is. So this is going to need a lot of attention in here. I can tell that already. And this machine has a lot of deferred maintenance. You'll see a lot of dirt built up in there. If you can see those groove openings to the motor, they are just caked in filth right over here. See if I can get down lower, you might be able to see it. And that's because, again, the motor acts like what? What does a motor act like? You can type it in the chat. And why anything in the environment, if you have a smoker in your household, if you have your machine set up somewhere near the kitchen and you're cooking with greasy things, it's all going to get pulled through these vents into your motor and contaminate the motor eventually. So you have to be mindful about where you set up your sewing space, that it's not going to be near something that's going to contaminate that motor, because you have all those electrical components in there that are made out of copper, and all of that stuff sticks to them because those surfaces are electrified, right? And when they're charged with electricity, they fuse anything that comes into contact with them to that surface, and they eventually cause that electrical field to become degraded, and the power of that motor just goes down. And that's why I spent so much time on the motor on these machines to return that power to them again. So and the son of the original owner probably had no idea where this went. They just saw it and they thought, well, it slides over that, but this is where it goes here, so that you can take away that slow gear, which is probably not working right anyway right now because that's not depressed all the way in. Then on the rear of the machine, we turn that around. And the great thing about these Class 21, these really early versions of Class 21s and the Class 20s as well, is that these covers here that on the later models went to plastic, these are generally going to be an aluminum cast. So they're not as prone to cracking. They're a lot more sturdy. They're built a lot better. They're built a lot better with these Type 21s that were still in that period of time when they were using more metal than plastic. And if you look at the data plate, you can see something interesting. And that is that this one also comes with the larger of the two motors, 1.5 amps. So once I'm done with this motor, it is going to be a beast. It's going to be an absolute beast. This is your on switch, not for power, because as soon as you plug this in, it's going to be charged with power. Where if you have that foot controller plugged in, this is going to engage the motor straight away, but it'll turn on your light for you by just pushing it in. And this is another area that I would add extra protection to because it's plastic here. These can get snapped off very easily, and they're sometimes hard to find the parts. So now we're kind of looking in the back of the machine. And interestingly enough, we have an additional cam A. And it doesn't look like it's a revised cam A either. It's just a standard, yep, it's just a standard cam A. And the way I took that out is this little arm is spring loaded. You just pull it all the way down so that this little notch right here is out of the way. And then you slide the cam back on, kind of rotate it. And then you can release this so it kind of locks that cam into place. That way, when you move the slider back and forth on the front, this holds that on a fixed position on that stem, and it allows you to change so that this little reader over here will be able to read the bumps, almost like Braille. It reads the bumps on the cam, and that's how it gives you the output for the stitches. And this is one of our cleated belts right here that serves as a timing belt. And even though the cloth that is incorporated into them, the weaving, ends up degrading, it can degrade quite a while, or quite a ways, I should say, before this is compromised in any way. And this looks like it's in actually very good shape. Very, very good shape. So this is a machine I got myself from the original owner's son. And other than a very, very poor packing job, overall, the machine appears to be in excellent condition, which I'm not surprised by, because when you have an original owner machine, the investment that they would have had to have made to buy this machine new was a lot of money back in the day. So they were going to protect and take good care of that investment. Yeah. All right. I spent too much time on this unboxing. We've got other unboxings to do. So let me set the camera back up. And let's move this to the side and get to the next unboxing. And we could either go into the next unboxing, we could do the mystery machine that arrived at the workshop, or we can unbox the other item that I bought. Type in the chat if you have an opinion as to which unboxing we should do next. Should we do the mystery machine, or should we do the next box that I bought to add to my personal collection? I'll wait for you to type it in there. So I'll probably share this link with the person that I bought this machine from. And again, I am disappointed. The packing, even though we had talked about carefully packing it, even though, it doesn't matter how far a machine is going to travel. This machine came from an original owner in Wisconsin. I'm in Wisconsin. So it's within the state, but it's still getting banged around and dropped along the way. So you have to protect things like this so that the box doesn't arrive broken like this. It's just the right thing to do. And you don't ship a machine like this upside down in a cardboard box. That just doesn't pass the common sense test in my book. So we could have prevented this thread guide from getting bent. Because like I said, when I try to bend this back, even if I heat it with my torch, in all likelihood, this real thin gauged
metal that acts as the thread guide, it's going to break. And then I'm going to have to go on a search and destroy mission to find another thread guide like this. So a little bit of extra effort can prevent a lot of frustration, right? It just can. I'm just going to take a peek and see if there's any. Okay, so Mary's saying let's do the mystery machine. Aaron is saying let's do the mystery machine. Yes, Emma, you were right. I'm sorry, I didn't acknowledge your response. The motor acts like a vacuum cleaner. So yeah, you want to choose where you set up your machines carefully in your household, so that that motor doesn't suck all the stuff in. You know what I mean? All right. Well, it looks like the overriding votes are for the mystery machine. So that's what we're going to do next. So let me get that up on the workbench. And this is a lot bigger box than the last one, so I got to move my magnetic trays out of the way. And this came to the workshop by UPS. And it's possible, as busy as I've been, that someone told me they were going to be shipping a machine. But normally, if UPS or FedEx is shipping a machine, they'll put the customer's name on here. And let me look at it again. Let me see if I somehow missed it, but I don't think so. So this came out of the state of Vermont, right? It came out of the state of Vermont, and the label on here, I'll have to check my notes either through, and that's the challenge when I love to be accessible to everybody, right? I love to be accessible. So if someone wants to reach out to me, they can text me, they can call me, they can send me a note through Facebook Messenger. They can, send me a smoke signal. But when you have all those different avenues for communication, sometimes you can lose track with all the activity of the workshop. So I'll have to check again, but I couldn't find any notes specifically about this machine out of Vermont. So I'll have to do that again so we can track it down. And probably inside of the box, we'll get some additional clues too, right? But the company name is the Earth Pigments Company. The Earth Pigments Company. Let me show you. And maybe if that person is watching right now, they can jump into the chat and help us out right there. But I don't know off the top of my head, I don't know what the Earth Pigments Company LLC is all about, unless they are involved in the shipping business on behalf of UPS and they put their name on there. I don't know. So if you're in the live stream right now and this is your box, help us out, would you? Because right now, it's a mystery machine. Woo! Just gonna look at the notes real quick. Oh, Aaron Allen, that's your business. That's my business. God bless you. Thank you. That's my mystery machine. Don't tell anybody what it is. Don't tell them what model it is then. How I love communication, don't you?
That's Aaron's machine.
Yay! Vermont, yes. All the way from Vermont. I haven't gotten very many machines from Vermont. So this is Aaron's machine. Aaron is in the chat right now. Aaron Allen. That's her business. Tell us a little bit about your business, Aaron, would you? Tell us about your The Earth business. The Earth Pigments Company, LLC. Share anything you want to share about it. You know, this is your opportunity to kind of brag about your company. Oh yeah, Vermont is gorgeous. Boom, 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 boom. So yes, I just wrote Aaron's name on the box because it only had the company name, and for some reason, with that being such a unique company name, I didn't remember that it was associated with Aaron. So I'm so glad that Aaron is a part of the live chat in this live stream and could take away the mystery, at least as far as who this belongs to. And see, we would have had a fighting chance here. We would have had a chance here if Aaron had not been a part of this live stream. There's an envelope right on top, so I would have known then, or been reminded then, who this came from. So yeah, there's always hope. There's always hope. I'm just going to cover up her address, but there's the envelope, and I'm guessing there's more information in there. So we would have had it covered, but I'm glad that Aaron was a part of this live stream. I'm so glad. See, if Mr. Bean were a better administrative assistant, I wouldn't lose track of things like this. I just wouldn't. Oh, well, now it's coming back to me. Erin is brilliant. She wrote a very detailed note in here. She says, enclosed is the blank blank machine, and she didn't put anything bad. I'm just taking out the name. She said, enclosed is the blank blank machine that I messaged you about a while back. I've enclosed payment, blah, 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 blah. And she said she did not send the case as it smells like mildew and didn't want that in your shop. I would have taken care of that for you, Aaron, but that's totally cool that you decided to keep the base or the case for it. And I'll show you real quick on camera what I use to deal with mildew and mildewy smells. I've shown this to you guys before.
And what I do is I mix a little bit of this stuff. Whoops. I mix a little bit of this stuff and I add rubbing alcohol to it. Just a small little bloop of rubbing alcohol. And then I will spray those areas that are covered in mildew and all the other yucky stuff. And this does a brilliant job of cleaning it up. Plus, it's a disinfectant too. Kind of kills all those germs and stuff. So this is something that Erin can use on that mildewy, nasty, yucky case that she decided not to send with this mystery machine. So you see how busy I am, you guys. It's kind of horrible. I didn't even realize, and now I know exactly who this is, because she reminds me in this note. She says, "No hurry to get this back when you can. Absolutely love the Viking 21E that you restored for me. Thanks for your work." So I had previously done a 21E for Erin. So thank you, Erin, for understanding how busy I am. And you guys can all send notes to the workshop that I can pass along to Mr. Bean and the guys saying, help Scott out more, help him out more. He's just overwhelmed. Yeah, I handle so many machines that if I don't have regular communication with that customer, I can lose track of them. I just can. I'm just being honest. And that's certainly not the way I like to be. So let's see what this mystery machine is in here that came from this mystery box that arrived at the workshop that is no longer a mystery, because we know now that it belongs to Erin Allen, okay? And I had done a 21E for this customer as well. So what a blessing it is to get repeat business because you've done a good job, right? The gentleman that I bought that other machine from, if somehow he discovers another machine, I'm not likely to buy it from him. But if it's a real nice original owner machine that belonged to his mom, I might drive there and go pick it up since it's in Wisconsin. But I'm not going to trust his shipping method again. There's just no way. Now this is what packing should look like from what I'm seeing so far. Let me show you guys. We've got a very sturdy exterior box. We've got an equally sturdy interior box. There's peanuts all the way around the box as far as I can see, and there's probably peanuts on the bottom as well. And I'm guessing that the machine that's inside of here is padded to the hilt because that's the way that Erin is. So let's get into this and see what we find, okay? And I'm guessing that the easiest way to tackle this, because there's peanuts in the front and on the top and on the sides, is to clear this out here and then open the front of the box up like I've done before and then take the box out. We're probably gonna have peanuts on the floor anyway, but hey, it's Friday and we're celebrating Christmas early because of the music I chose. All right, let me get a box to put these on. That one's about full. I got to get another one. Yeah, my hunch was right. There's peanuts all the way underneath this box. This is a Class A packing job. Class A. All right, let me see if I can open up the front of this box and get a little bit better access. And I'll just put this tote on the bottom so we can catch some of these peanuts as we go. Oh, I love this song, don't you? Carol of the Bells, right? Yep, Carol of the Bells. And there's probably a 3-inch gap between the front of this box that's inside and the outside box. So this is perfect. I can cut through it without any concern. This is really smart. Look at this, you guys. So she's got the bag, right? All the way around the inner box. She's got all the peanuts. So I don't have to go any further with the peanuts right now. All I have to do is carefully lift this inner box up, and then we'll set this one to the side, and I can deal with the peanuts afterwards. A lot of thoughtful packing here. Very, very well done. It's almost like, was it Emma or Maddie, or maybe both of them? They would send the peanuts in a bag and then put the bags around there. I love it. You guys are the best. You guys are absolutely the best. Let me move this other tote out of the way. Very cool. Oh, wow, this is clever. Not only the bed of peanuts, but also these rolls that, like, you would have it around wrapping paper. But these are a lot heavier duty, that are on the bottom as well as shock protection. So the machine box, the inner box, is resting on top of these and has this additional padding to give it a nice cushy ride all the way from Vermont. Excellent, excellent packing, Aaron. Well done. Well done. I should come out with certificates. My friends at Bay Impressions could help me come out with certificates that if someone ships something to the workshop and they do a spectacular job like Aaron did with this machine, that I can mail them a certificate of excellence in packing, almost like I've certified them as a master packer. Matter of fact, that's what I'll call it. I'll call it a master packer certificate. Well, see if you guys have a suggestion on what I should call the certificate, where I would send it to the customer for doing a world-class packing job. There's even innovations in this packing job that Aaron did that I don't currently use, but I might copy them. Like these tubes are really a clever idea for shock absorption for the bottom of that box, right? Yeah. See what I say all the time? Sometimes a teacher, always a student. We can learn from each other, and that's what makes this classroom so much fun, because you guys have brilliant ideas, and if we pay attention and pick up on the brilliant ideas that you guys share, it makes us that much better. All right, I gotta be careful I don't knock over my friends in the back there. And I'm getting a little bit more timely now in unboxing things. I'm trying to set it as a priority, even as I'm jumping between workbenches, working on projects. I'm trying to set the unboxing as a priority, as a courtesy to the customer, because they shouldn't have to wait forever for me to finally get the box out, or the machine out of the box, so they can see if the machine arrives safely. I've got to try to set that as a higher priority. This box arrived on October 7th. So what is this? This is the end of the month. I'm about 2.5 to 3 weeks out. That's better than I usually do, but I could do better than that. Remember our CANI, C-A-N-I, constant and never-ending improvement. I've got to improve my timing of getting boxes open. Yeah, I do. Okay, that's not all the Christmas music, is it? That would be kind of a bummer. Yeah, there we go. This may be a repeat, but we can listen to it again. That's fine. Now, the only thing I'm not seeing on this box, I see up, but I can't tell which way is the ship. Sorry, guys. Ship and store with this end up, okay? The only suggestion I would make to customers in general is, if you ship an inner, just, I'm guessing that this is the front. I'm guessing. But just if you want to just write front on there, or if you have somebody pack it for you, just have them write front and back, and that way, but we can figure it out once we open it up, so it's not a big deal. It's not that big of a deal. Now, I wasn't looking at the chat. Did Erin share a little bit about her company, the Earth Pigments? The Earth Pigments Company, LLC. If I missed it, then one of you that has my cell phone number, just text me some details on the company. I'd just be curious, or I could Google it as well. Yeah, let's assume that this is the front. So let me see if I can give you any clues on the machine that we're going to pull out of this box. Let's see here. All right, I'm going to give you a real general clue. It's not a really great clue at all, but I'll tell you that the origin of this machine would be of interest to both Umi and her new friend. Yeah, a general clue, just a general clue. And if Erin wants to give any other clues, she certainly can do that. If Erin wants to give any other clues.
Can you see the inside of the box? Huge chunks of styrofoam inside of the box. Again, hoping for the best, but preparing for the worst. If this takes a real solid hard blow to the front or the back of this box, this stuff is probably a good 4 inches thick. So a nice addition of protection to keeping the machine inside safe. That, from the clues I gave you, has roots of Japan. Yeah, roots of Japan. All right, let me see if I can get some more music on. There we go. You could hold up a small house with this stuff. Pretty serious about keeping this machine safe, right? Here we have an extra little pad. And Aaron was very thoughtful in labeling it so we don't have to try to guess what it is. This is the motor and the motor mount inside of this padding. And notice she gave it extra protection. She didn't say, well, the metal is, the motor is metal and I don't have to do anything with it. She built a fortress around the motor and the motor mount as well. And like a lot of the machines that were made in Japan, let me just say that this is a meaty machine. It's got some weight to it. It's got some weight to it for sure. Like this, that makes sense. Now, this is what I'm talking about. The thickness of the padding around this machine right here is probably about like that, about 2.5 to 3 inches. This is the way it should be. That other machine that I purchased that was sent from within Wisconsin, it had a single layer of bubble wrap, not nearly enough protection on the machine. Aaron has done a really good job of creating a cocoon around this machine to protect it from all sides. That's a fun ragtime type song, isn't it? I like that one. Now there you're getting a real big clue. Look at the coloring on that. You can tell almost right away the Japanese love their colors, don't they? They love their colors. They just do. Whether it's a Robin Eggs blue one like Roz sent to the workshop that I just sent her back recently, or a machine like this that has Japanese roots, they just come out with spectacular patinas for their machines, along with, in many cases, some very unique decal patterns. Very, very nice. Just take a quick peek at the chat here. Oh no, you did a super job. You did a super job, Aaron. You really did. You've done an excellent job. I think I said hello to Sunny already, but hello, Sunny. It's so great to have a leadership team that allows me to focus on this so that they can interact with all of our friends. So thank you, Sunny, and thank you, Emma. And if any of the other leaders are here, thank you for helping out with that. I really appreciate it. Yeah, I agree, Sunny. I think it really is pretty, really pretty color. What color would you consider this? You guys are so smart on colors. I don't know what you would call this color. Maybe Aaron knows. Beautiful color. Making sure there's nothing in there. But you can see right away the difference. You know, you always hear the saying, I don't know how to describe it to you, but I'll know it when I see it. This is what packing looks like. Not what I got with the machine that I unboxed first. That is a bad example of packing. This is an excellent example of padding and protecting the machine. Now, while I've been giving Aaron a lot of praise, the only thing I would suggest is if you have a machine like this that has those cast pedestal feet on the bottom, let me lean it on its side so I can show you. If you have a machine like this that has those cast feet on the bottom,
These are actually pretty sturdy. They're a lot more sturdy than the FOF ones. But over here, this is a little bit more vulnerable. Is just add a little extra cushioning even beyond what Aaron had put. Create a little pad, probably about that thick, for each one of the pedestal feet, especially this one here that's so much thinner and more likely to break. But an incredible packing job that Aaron has done with this. And you notice with the origin of imports coming into our country, we set a requirement to distinguish a machine that was made in Japan by typically requiring that they stamp the front of the machine with a J and then a number following it. You can see that's what they did here. So JA38, and then here you've got the serial number stamped in here as well. Very smart. And you'll notice, if you look at this carefully, you'll notice that Aaron not only did a great job up to this point with packing, but the more delicate, sensitive parts of the machine, she's added extra padding to as well to safeguard them, just in case the worst case scenario happens where all the other layers are compromised. She still has this extra padding to protect those really delicate parts of this Japanese machine. See that? It's just all extra padding through here. Why did she protect this? Because it's plastic. And that's what they should have done when they shipped that machine to me. The first one we did unboxing is provide extra padding to these more delicate areas, but they didn't. So they're not going to get one of my certificates, that's for sure. But Aaron probably will. Notice also that Aaron is using a safe tape where she can anchor down these extra protection points, but not compromise the patina of the machine. Remember, we just unboxed that FOF 230, and they had put regular packing tape right onto the patina of the machine. In fact, they put it right over the FOF branding mark on the rear of the machine, if you saw that unboxing. Here we're using a safe tape that probably is acid-free, and it's providing the same anchoring points that you want without compromising the patina. So very thoughtful packing. Excellent job, Aaron. Excellent job. And again, if you're using scissors next to the body of the machine, always angle them away like I'm doing right now, so that if I somehow slip, I'm not going to scratch Erin's machine on the top. And I can only assume this one is not labeled. It's likely the foot controller. And you notice that Erin tucked it into the harp space so that she could bubble wrap everything and create a cocoon around everything that's essential to the machine. So that's the way it should be done. Excellent job. And you notice here she's got some spool pins that you took off so they wouldn't get broken off. And she's labeled it specifically so I don't mistakenly. And you notice as I'm going through this, I kind of squish stuff and check to see if there's anything in there. But these could be easily missed. So Erin did a really good thing in labeling them do not discard spool pins. So we'll set those to the side as well so that we have those available to the machine. That even making little coils like this. And I think it was either Maddie or Emma when they sent a machine here, they used the little noodle things that people float in the water with. But here actually Erin actually created one. So again, providing more protection for those delicate parts of the machine. So here the painter's tape was to hold this down because it's fitting a little bit loose right now. And I'll check the back of that. There's two little fins, and sometimes adjusting those will tighten this up nicely. So when you slide it, it's nice and snug and it doesn't jiggle. Because there's nothing more annoying to a sewer than having one of these plates that isn't quite snug enough. And then as you sew, it kind of jiggles and rattles. So I'll take a look at this as well. Notice this again. Attention to detail is so important when you're packing a machine. You can see that Erin has the presser foot down. She's got the needle down in the material. That's exactly the way you want to do it. I didn't plan that, but it ended right with the music. That was kind of cool. What a cool looking machine this is. Let's get a closer look at it. That almost, I'm not really hip, right? I'm not really hip, but that almost has kind of a, what would you call it? The design of that? Is it a deco design? Just the way the Japanese put it all together. It just has such a unique look to it, doesn't it? And you notice that this is most likely going to be an earlier Japanese model of the dressmaker. That's the branding on it. Because at this point in time, they still were highlighting very prominently that it was made in Japan. Eventually, they moved away from that, kind of like we saw on Roz's machine, and they started masking the fact a little bit more of the origin of the machine because there were still bad feelings. I mean, when you go to war with a country, you don't forget about it. It's not, oh, we're done with it, we're all good. When you go to marketing things, you got to be a little bit more clever. So this was early enough in the phase of this machine that this was not as big of an obstacle as it later became. And you can see that this appears to be a model SAMB, if I'm reading that correctly. You probably can see it better than I can with the camera as close as it is. Has anyone ever owned a dressmaker? And obviously they made dressmakers under a number of different manufacturers over the years. But this particular model name of dressmaker has been around a very long time. If anyone wants to Google to try to capture a little bit of the history for us, they can certainly do that and post it in the chat. But I'll certainly do my research on this machine and also follow up with Erin as well and get any insights she knows from what she's discovered about the machine too. I'm just curious to look inside of the machine real quick. Let me slide this over here and we'll set that right there. Just take a quick look. Now, if you go to a Walmart or a Jo-Ann Fabrics or any other major retailer, big box store, and you buy one of the machines over the counter, you're not going to see all this metal. Again, there are certain camps that are really negative about Japanese vintage machines, but all it takes is taking the cover off like I just did to look at the thoughtful design and the engineering, the quality built into these machines. And all of a sudden, those people that are murmuring in the background suddenly become very, very silent. I mean, you could take probably 50 of those contemporary machines and you still wouldn't get the equivalent of the metal that's built into this machine. It's just phenomenal. The only plastic that I can see is part of the cam stack right over here, which there were cam stacks made out of metal, but when they went to this Teflon material, this stuff is, I wouldn't say it's bulletproof, but it's pretty doggone close. But everything else that I can see on the machine is all metal. So what do you think of that oversized balance wheel? It's about the same circumference as you would see on a lot of the vintage spoked wheels on Singers, right? Beautiful balance wheel on that as well. And the chrome attention work that goes on it as well. Isn't that unusual that they would have put the light switch all the way over here on a lot of the Japanese machines? They'll put this right over by the light. So on this particular design, for whatever reason, they decided that they didn't want to put it by the pressure foot bar or by the needle bar. So this is going to have a screw-in bulb on it. So I'll check with Erin to find out if she wants me to source a screw-in LED light for this so that we can reduce the heat. These put out so much heat. When they heat up to full temperature, they're putting out, I mean, you almost like an easy bake oven back in the day. You could literally make bread rise with the heat that comes off of these, probably close to 300 degrees. So we can replace this with an LED bulb. It's going to give a lot better light for Erin, and it's going to create a lot less heat. But again, looking inside of this faceplate area, you don't see plastic like you will on contemporary machines. All metal. Very, very thoughtfully designed. Built, as my father would have said, built like a tank. Well, this is our second unboxing right here. This fabulous Japanese-made dressmaker. And again, I haven't done any research on this machine at all yet, but if any of you have insights into it, or if Erin does, by all means, share that in the chat, and then I'll do additional research when I start to get this machine back on the workbench. And again, if you haven't seen the other premieres where I've shown this, this is a graduated presser foot pressure. Most of them you see on Singers and that, you're going to screw it all the way down to get the greatest presser foot pressure for thicker materials than that. With this one, it's got a graduated button you can push down right here. As you go further and further down, it's going to increase that presser foot pressure. Keep going down, keep going down. And you can go all the way down if you want for max presser foot pressure. And then a quick release, just push this little outer ring down and it causes it to pop back up again. Why would you do this? If you're trying to get something super thick underneath the presser foot and there's just not quite enough clearance, as soon as you release all the presser foot pressure, again, this is engaged right now. As soon as you release that, you can all of a sudden manipulate this presser foot like this. Look at the clearance right there if you needed to sneak something in there. You're going to have decent presser foot clearance, probably of about 4 millimeters. But if you got to cheat and you got to get something really, really, really thick underneath there, you can release all the presser foot pressure, push it up like this. Look at the clearance now. That's regular. I should say this is regular. And then we can give it a little bit of a boost, like about 4 or 5 times boost. And then once we get the material in place, whatever it is, just imagine that this is a lot thicker than it is. Take your hand off of it and then go back up here and re-engage it. And then you have presser foot pressure again. So the material will feed. The Japanese are very smart, and they did this with their Kenmore machines. They did it with dressmaker machines like this. They did it with a wide scope of machines that came out of Japan because they realized it was so convenient and so easy to be able to manage presser foot pressure like this, as opposed to having to screw it down and screw it down and screw it down like you do on a lot of the vintage machines. And this is really a beautiful machine, but you notice there's no decaling on it really. There's no decaling other than right on the front of the machine. It's just a very simple, beautiful machine. And some of the most beautiful women that I've known in my life, they don't goop on all the makeup. They do little accents, if that makes sense. And the Japanese decided on this particular dressmaker, we're not going to put all the frilly stuff on it like we do with some of our machines. We're going to keep it simple, clean, and elegant. That's what they did. Yeah. That's what they did. Beautiful machine, isn't it? I like it. Jiminy Crickets, I didn't know we've been live streaming for over 2 hours already. You guys want to see the final unboxing that I've got to do? It's something that I bought. It's something that I bought, but it's nothing extraordinary. It's not even a sewing machine. It's just an accessory for the sewing machine of sorts. Let me put these parts back on and then we'll pop this other box open real quick. And then I'll show you why I ordered it a second time. Yeah, let me rotate this around. That was a pretty song. I didn't see what the title was. It's always funny when you're trying to line these screws up after you take something off. Let me set Aaron's machine to the side, and I'll get this last box out. I've got all kinds of packing materials blocking my path right now, but if I can get past them, I'll show you eventually why I reordered this particular aftermarket thing. I've got my path totally blocked. Oh. Okay, so I've got Aaron's machine over there. Now let me see if I can get to this other box, and I'll show you what I ordered. The problem with ordering aftermarket things is generally the quality standards have been dropped quite a bit. And that's what I encountered with this recent purchase. Well, there are those three words that will usually cause us to have a little shiver up our spine. And no offense to our friends in China, they have amazing products. Many of them are pretty good quality, but you do get that inconsistent quality when you're dealing with machines certainly coming out of the country now, and with other products that they're manufacturing, they're lowering their quality standards. So I bought the first item that was be in this box, and it had a number of issues. I'm going to see if the second one is better, and then I'll put them side by side, and I'll kind of show you what my concerns were with the first one, and you can let me know what your thoughts are. And see, the reason I do the press down, we've got little or no clearance. This is only going down just a little bit, so I've got to really make this blade short. And I'll open up the sides first so I can pull it up a little bit. So now I'm going to lift this flap up, and then I'll cut through so I can get through it. So this is my second time around ordering this. The first one I got, you'll see the issues with it. We'll see how this one is as far as quality. You guys ought to see this mess. I've got, hopefully no smoke detector goes off or anything like that right now, because they just have this huge obstacle fortress. I got to show it to you. Nobody pull a fire drill, please. Nobody pull a fire drill. Dag nabbit, it's the same. Maybe my expectations are too high. I think I have enough room here to set them both up side by side. This is obviously an aftermarket carrying case for a featherweight. The only problem is the first one I got had lots of issues, and this one seems to have a number of the same issues. Whenever you're trying to make something aftermarket and you're wanting to keep your costs down, you'll cut corners. There's actually a chunk of the material missing there. Oh, goodness. So this is the replacement that they sent me because the first one had issues. The second one has issues too. Replacement case. Here's the original one they sent me. Now, if you're just looking at them from a distance and you're not scrutinizing them, they're not bad. But when you compare it to the original containers that were made for the featherweights, whether it was a 222K or a 221, the quality standards are just so different. The way the lid fits. Here you've got this is the original one they sent me. Here you've got a cut through this vinyl type fabric that they have on here.
Here you have another type of imperfection. It's almost like it melted or something. And again, featherweight owners are real persnickety, right? They just are. And you get stuff like this and like this on what should be a reasonably flawless case. This just really got under my skin when I saw that. And you got stuff like this on top as well. This is supposed to be a brand new case. And this is the way it arrived at the workshop. And I ordered this case specifically for a customer that lives out in California. And this is going to be a Christmas gift that they give to their spouse. And then when you open this one up, this is the first one they sent me. Here you can see the lid is actually separating. Look right there. It's supposed to be a brand new case. Brand new. Really? Same thing on this side. Look at that. It's separated completely right there. Right there. Look at the seams. These are supposed to be closed seams. You can actually see the glue. You can actually see the glue in between. Over here as well. You would not see this on an original case, and that's where I'm probably going to be forced to mail both of these back to the seller and say, I'd rather get an original 221 case that was put together properly, where you can't see the glue and the seams in the back are not, I mean, that's just ridiculous. Seriously, that's just ridiculous. Here across the front too. That's all glue. That's glue right there where it's not even put together properly. And yes, I could go through and fix all of this, but does anyone want to type into the chat what I paid for this new case for this customer from California? And it arrived like this. And again, this is not a used case. This is supposed to be brand, as my father would say, brand spanking new. Brand spanking new. Stuff like this, there's no reason for that. There just isn't. Even the way, look at this. I'm not even looking at the chat because I'm sure you guys are going crazy. Between Sonny and Emma, hopefully they can keep you guys from rioting or something like that. So this is the first one they sent me, and it's horrible. It's absolutely horrible. There's no way that I would send this to the customer. There's no way. I just won't do it. I will not do it. You know, if you go way back to here, they're passable, right? They're passable. But junk like this and junk like this back here on a brand new case arriving like this, where there's a cut. I don't know. How do you do a cut on a brand new piece like this when you wrap it up? And what is this over here? Oh my gosh. There's no way to fix that. There's no way to fix that reasonably. I could try. I don't know what I could try. But if any of you guessed, What did Emma put? Does that say $85? Yeah, right around. When you take into account tax and everything, these aftermarket cases with junk like this and this and all the other stuff I showed you, all the other stuff, and like this. After tax, it's about $92. $92. And it's just haphazardly put together. Haphazardly. This other one, is it any better? I don't know. Let's take a look. When I contacted them and I said, what the heck is going on? This is the one that they just sent me. There's some sort, what is that, oil? There's some sort of an oil or something going on in the front there. Can you see that? It's not going away. I could try cleaning it, but here you got extra glue that they just sloppily left on there. Do they not understand? Do they not understand the culture of a featherweight owner? They don't understand. They don't get it. Because if they did, they would have hired better quality assurance people that would say, that's not going to fly. That's unacceptable. Now, I don't know how you say that's not acceptable in Chinese, but I'll tell you one thing. If I worked for them, I would learn how to say that's not acceptable. That's not acceptable right there for a featherweight owner. No way. Look at here again. Extra glue they just slopped on there, and they couldn't take 2 seconds to clean it off. Oh, geez. Here on the back, glue. Here we've got a chunk. That's actually a chunk out of the material right there on the side of the case. Now, you're going down an assembly line in China and you're making these, right? For the American market primarily. Although I'm sure they ship them other places. You got that final QA check on the end of the line. Some person that works at this factory is supposed to look over these things before they bag them up and they put them in the box. How can you pass something like that? How can you say, oh, that's okay? That's okay. That person on the other can get a black Sharpie and fill it in. Even though we charge them almost $100 for this case, almost $100 for this case, and they're letting stuff like this go down the line. I'm just, oh my gosh. Oh. Now let's see what the seams look like on this one and on the inside. They've done a better job on this one with the seams. Maybe that was their only focus. See, they got the seam joined in there compared to the other one where you could see all the glue in between. Here they've done a better job of putting that seam together properly, showing a little bit of attention to detail, a little bit of care. If they had taken a fraction of the care and the attention to detail that Erin used to pack her Japanese dressmaker, this case would be spectacular. It would. This is better. This is much better. But just because I complained about that specifically, maybe they went through a pile of these and they said, the guy doesn't like the seams. He doesn't like seeing the glue running all the way down. He doesn't like seeing the glue. He's afraid of glue. So they came up with this one, but there's still issues. Now, is this going to be cracked back here too? Thankfully not. But how many times will my customer open this to get the featherweight out before this cracks like the other one? I wonder. So you guys, they don't make featherweight original cases anymore. They don't. So we're kind of forced with these aftermarkets if we want to have a case for the featherweight, or we can buy a good used one, which probably in retrospect, after trying this twice, maybe that's the better option.
is stick with an original. At first glance, they're not bad looking at all. And they even include a couple of keys with it. They include a couple of keys. They've got this little holder on the side, which, yeah, that's designed to come up. That should come up. Yes, this is the original one is metal. This one is plastic. I don't know what's in there. It's kind of gross. I probably should have gloves on. Again, this is brand new. This is a brand new case. I don't know if you guys are as picky as I am, but it just seems like when they're charging, if they were charging like $50 for this, I wouldn't be ranting about on the other case where all the glue is coming apart and all that other stuff. I still would have an issue with the lid cracking like it was on the other one. I just would. It's not functional. It doesn't work correctly. But when you're charging almost $100, how much does it cost them to make these in China? I'd be curious how much it costs them to make these in China. Truthfully. Set the camera down for a second and get an original. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to get an original featherweight case out here so you guys can see the difference. Oops, wrong way. That's all. This has been in a corner of the workshop. That's all dust. Here, let's just be funny here. Clean me, exclamation point. Yeah, okay. Well, dust is okay. I can wipe dust off. But here's the aftermarket on the right. Aftermarket on the right over here. Original featherweight case right here. This again is going to be metal in the original. See how they have this wrapped? There's no possibility of having that glue. It's so meticulously put together, like everything Singer did back in the day. They got this beautiful pattern type cloth on the inside as well to finish it off. A little clamp here for your foot controller. There's so much thoughtfulness that goes into the original case. And this one has gotten how much use? Can you imagine? It's not brand new like this one, and yet there's like the back of this looks better, this original one, than the used one. It just goes to show you, why do we love vintage? Why do we love vintage stuff? This is a perfect highlight of it right here. We love vintage stuff because they build it like this, not like this. So what do? Now I have 2 of these cases that I've got to ship back to the seller person that sold it to me. Oh. And you know what? If you've ever been in any business at all, if you have an unhappy customer, you're going to go out of your way to make sure that the second time around that you're absolutely going to nail it. You're going to nail it. It's going to, as we used to say in customer service, it's going to exceed their expectations, right? They did a lot better here along these seams. They did a lot better. Here we got separation again, but at least the lid's not broken. Maybe I need to lower my expectations, right? My expectations are just too doggone high.
recognizing it's aftermarket, recognizing it's from China. I just need to lower my standards. That's probably what they'll tell me when I contact them about this one. They'll probably tell me, you just need to lower your standards. You're too picky. Well, is this being picky for something that's brand new? Is this being picky for someone that paid almost $100 for it? That you have glue that you can see? Just push it together. Just push it together. No, I'm not going to do that. You know what? I am too picky because the fact that this cracked after opening it like 2 or 3 times. My standards are just too doggone high. What I'll tell my customer is this is a new design. This is a new design. It allows the top of the case to open further so that you're not going to scratch your featherweight when you take it out. That's why it bends like this. Yeah, I don't think they're going to buy that. I hope they don't, because my customers are really smart, like all of you guys watching the live stream right now. They're just not going to. And this, what is this? Is this like a design feature? You can see the type of glue they use because it's still there. It's still there all the way around. All the way around. All right, I'm done ranting. I'm done. Well, oh, good gravy. Good gravy. Ah! Well, I am going to end this live stream. But I appreciate you guys hanging in there as I kind of go on and on and on. But lesson learned. Like I say, sometimes the teacher, always a student. You can buy with the biggest hopes and the biggest dreams that you're going to get something that's going to be passable. As long as you don't get real close to these, it's passable. But as soon as you start to look at the case a little bit more carefully and you realize you're carrying something that is invaluable, that is irreplaceable, whatever the featherweight is, and you're carrying it in something like this, where after opening and closing the case about 2 or 3 times, the seams came apart. I don't know that I'd like to trust one of these cases to a featherweight of any type, but the particular one that I had bought these cases for is a Centennial featherweight that I'm finishing for this customer from California that he's going to give to his spouse for Christmas. We're already going into November now, and I've already spent several weeks with this stuff down here. So now I'm going to shift my focus to looking for a really good quality case like this for the featherweight, the Centennial one. I can't use this one. Do you know why I can't use this one? Because it's already set aside for my dear friend, Sonny from Pennsylvania. The little glimpse you got inside of this case is the featherweight that I promised to Sonny many months ago. And I still haven't gotten to it yet. Sonny, I haven't forgotten you. This is Sonny's featherweight inside of here. This is Sonny's case. Now I need to find another case that is in really good condition like this one, instead of this stuff down here. I'm not even looking at the comments. I know that Sonny and Aaron and others are somehow offering words of comfort to me, but I am really, can I say pissed off on a live stream? I don't know if I can. Maybe I'll get flagged. one of my moderators will flag me for saying pissed off, but I am really disappointed. Let's just say I'm disappointed. I tried this twice and you guys saw what I ended up with. Oh, all right. Let me put Sonny's featherweight case over here, set the camera on it. I'm hoping you guys have a great weekend. I'm going to spend a portion of my weekend talking to the seller that sent this replacement for the other one. This was the first one. This was the second one. I'm at a loss, but it is what it is, right? What can you do? It's aftermarket. Again, maybe my standards are too high, but I've got off the chart standards when it comes to my work. Anything I send out of the workshop, just like the 21E that I did for Aaron before I start work eventually on this Japanese dressmaker for Aaron, I'm not going to send junk out. If it's not right, it's not right. This is not right. It's not right. So I guess I'm going to become good friends with the people from the Postal Service, saying, I got return labels for 2 of these. And my buddy at the post office is probably going to say, well, where do they make it? I'll say, well, they made it in China. And he'll jokingly say, he's a former military guy. He'll say, you didn't suspect the first time that it might not work out the second time? Maybe I should just ring the bell. Yeah, I should just ring the bell. All right, y'all take care. God bless. And I'm so glad you could join for this live stream. A very, very long live stream today. 2 hours and 38 minutes. But we unboxed all kinds of stuff. So it was productive, right? So you guys stay tuned for other live streams like this and other premieres as well. I'm probably going to do a live stream of that 19E tomorrow in the morning. So if you're an early riser on Saturday, watch for me going live with that 19E that's going to be heading back to, I just talked with either Emma or Maddie this morning about where it's going back to. Got it. Medina, Ohio. So I'm going to be doing a live stream on a Husqvarna 19E special. That's the one that the cams are built into the back of the machine. You don't have to put those black cams in like on most of the green Husqvarnas. So it's really a cool engineering machine from 1964, which happens to be the same year that I was born. So it's kind of fun to work on a machine that is the same age as you. I think that's why sometimes people will get a machine that was made in the same year that they were born. It's just kind of cool, you know what I mean? But I got to send this one back. This is for the lady that owns a veterinary care service out in Ohio, and she's wanting to get this machine back so she can get back to work with it. So, and it's affectionately known as Miss Betsy. Miss Betsy. So y'all take care. I'm going to end the live stream now, and we still have 12 people on. I don't know how many we had at one point. I wasn't watching, but a lot of folks jumping on. I'm so grateful for that. It's an encouragement when you guys jump onto these live streams. It reinforces for me that there's value in them. So we're going to keep on doing them, and we can keep on doing them because I upgraded my my speed on my internet, and also because of Emma sending me the real cool webcam that we're using right now. So thanks, everybody. See ya. Have a great weekend. And I'll see some of you probably tomorrow morning at the live stream to see Miss Betsy do her magic. All right? Take care. You're still there. Yeah. See ya.